Hi, this is Mary again, and this is Dreamy Goat Design Studios video on dyeing with Osage Orange. I have really looked forward to this video. Osage Orange, as you know, is the focus of our yellow study group, and let's get started. The question to ask yourself is, how do you know how much raw dye stuff you will need? There's two answers for that question. The first is you will need to know the weight of your fiber, WOF or WOG, which is weight of goods. If you bought 8 ounces of yarn from me, that's the weight of your fiber. Tomorrow, I will be dyeing 19.1 ounces. I'm dyeing everything. So I will work with the 19.1 ounces for our demonstration purposes this evening. Okay, in addition to your weight of fiber, you will need to know the recommended percentage of your raw material. You don't have to guess. The person that you bought the dye stuff from will be able to tell you what the recommended percentage is. You can also experiment with the percentage. It is not some fixed number that you cannot mess with. So I know that Osage Orange is 30% weight of goods. I would not ever do more than 30% because this is a rich yellow. This is the most saturated. If you do more, then do more fiber, because you will have several dye baths couple of days in a row with this. Experiment, do a little less, little lighter yellow perhaps. Have fun with it. But you can always start out with 30% and you will always be good. Okay, for what we will be dyeing, and that will be tomorrow, my weight of fiber, like I said, is 19.1 ounces or 534.8 grams. I would round those off. You don't have to work with the decimals. I multiplied that weight by 30% for the Osage Orange, and it does vary, by the way, from dye stuff to dye stuff, or 0.3. And that gives me an upside down sign. That gives me 5.73. I would probably round that off to 5.75 ounces, 160.4 or 160 grams of Osage Orange. Now, let me show you what Osage Orange looks like straight from the tree. Osage Orange is a tree in the Midwest that was used primarily by farmers as windbreakers, because of course the winds really blow across the plains. This is what it looks when it's shredded. You can see how beautiful the yellow the yellow heartwood is. We call it Osage Orange, but we don't use the orange, which is the fruit of the tree. It's not edible, it's not pretty, and it doesn't yield the yellow. It is the wood itself of the tree that we use. Now, it seems likely, or I should say it seems lately, that we can only get these chips. I would never have sent these to you through the mail if you're part of the group, but this yields a beautiful yellow. You would just have to soak it for a number of days, even a week or two, because it's pretty rough and tumble. You really need to get that yellow out, so soak it for a long time. The easier way, and the way we are working, is with sawdust. This is what it looks like ground, and this is what you should have in your possession if you purchased it from me. But what I wanted to show you is this. Look at the difference in colors. The same tree, the same dye stuff. I'm going to guess they're going to give the same yellow, but this is what I love about natural dyes. They differ from year to year, from location to location. So the thing to consider with sawdust is that it is so fine that if you don't somehow contain it, you will have this fine sawdust in your fiber if you're not careful. So here's what I think most people do. It's kind of funny looking, but they take a knee-high and they stuff it with the Osage Orange. Now this is almost 160 grams. This here is the equivalent of that there. I will just finish stuffing it right now. You can see it's right at the top, almost. Let me see if I can get a little bit more in without spilling it too much. This will hold a lot of the sawdust in, Will not hold all of it though. Some of it will come pouring out. Now let me see if I'm going to make a mess here. All right, I think I'm good. Excuse me. So I just secure this with a knot. And then I'm good with a knot, she says. And then I'm ready to soak it. And what's nice about Osage orange, it's really very simple preparation if you start with the sawdust. You simply put it in your pot of water, just a pot of water, not your pot of water, because we will actually add water to this to be your actual dye pot tomorrow. You're going to kind of push it down. It will take a while for the water to enter, to absorb. Oh God, that looks very strange, doesn't it? And you're going to leave it overnight, which is what we're going to do. Now, I have a relatively big pot. I'll top it up with water. Actually, I'm going to use a slightly larger container for my 19 plus ounces. You're not dyeing with 19 ounces, so use smaller pots. Use what works for you. But the deal is that you will soak this overnight, and tomorrow we will actually do the dyeing. So I will see you tomorrow morning.